it was familial abuse. Um, I'm not all entirely sure that my parents were involved in physically touching me, but they allowed other people to come in and do things. I'm 37 now. Um, I remembered about the age of 30, it was triggered by my child becoming the age that I thought my abuse first started. So I had thought I had been abused around the age of 8, and I was triggered by him turning 8. And that's when I actually did start attending counseling and received EMDR therapy. What I had always remembered is that they had also trafficked me when I was 21. I was pregnant with my son. I was single. And in order to live at their home and have a home, I was trafficked. Trying to make sense of all of that actually brought me to those younger memories of people outside of the family doing things. And I confronted my parents when I first remembered in 2018. More so, the reason for confronting them was letting them know, hey, I remembered this happened to me, and I'm not sure that you guys knew that this person who was a family friend had done something to me, but I just wanted you to know he did. And I knew after that, and my husband was there, my brothers were there, and everybody thought it was really weird because of the way that my parents reacted. They weren't surprised. Um, and the first thing my mom said is, you cannot tell your grandmother because she'll blame us. My dad eventually ended up passing away, and family members came up to me and said that I had had a lot of grace toward my parents. And I started asking questions as to why, and realizing that family members had always suspected something was going on. There's a lot of things that make more sense when I realize that the things I'm remembering are real. And it makes less truth when I question if they're real.
You were trafficked at age 2021. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So my dad was a state a state trooper for 25 years and then worked in federal law enforcement after he retired. So there was a lot of higher up connections. And when my parents would need money for something, they used me as commodity. In particular, I was pregnant at the age of 21 from a relationship that didn't last. And when had to come back home to my parents, they um, trafficked me in a marriage situation. So they sold me to a person that needed to get a green card. So I was forced to come to the courthouse and sign papers like it was a marriage and take pictures together. And, my parents were all a part of that. At one point, they told me that we were going on vacation for 2 weeks to Florida. My son was 4 months old. And during that vacation, they took me one morning to the airport and made me I had to fly back up to Philly for a meeting um, that had to do with our marriage and him getting his green card or something like that. And they held my son. They kept my son and just said, do what you're supposed to do with him, comply, and then come back and you'll finish this vacation out with us. And immediately after that situation, I had to find some other place to go. So I ended up moving out of their house, um, finding an apartment that I could stay at. And it sounds really like a crazy thing, but being raised, when I look back at it now, being raised in that type of environment all my life, I did not have the confidence or the realization that there was any other way but to comply. Because when I complied with my parents, it ended up with some kind of reward or safety. And when I didn't comply, I feared for my safety and survival. And that was the only thing that I had known or understood at that time, even as, a 21-year-old adult. A lot of people say, why wouldn't you just walk out of that situation and leave? But I didn't know that I could. I didn't know that I had that option. Your parents have this whole different power over you besides the fact that my father was in a position of authority. At one point, I did try to go to a lawyer to get the marriage annulled. The lawyer even said that I don't have any proof that there was money transfer for me marrying this guy. So ultimately, they could press charges against me, um, for it being a sham marriage. So for many years, I looked back on that situation and just tried to make sense of it. I now work in organizations against human trafficking and counsel women who have been through a lot of the same situations. I'm blessed. I think that I have a strong faith in a creator that takes everything that's meant for evil for us and turns it into good. So everything that I have been through and that I am willing to face, I believe can be used to help other people. My husband and I have been married 13 years now, and we have five amazing children, and we homeschool, and he runs his own business. And he's walked with me through every bit of the memories that I have. He's always stood beside me and encouraged me and supported me. He's been a huge part of my healing too, because of seeing he's an only child, but the dynamics between him and his family have been so oppositional to what I grew up with. So he saw some of the things that my family would do, and not just my parents, my other family members too, because I think they knew things that they didn't want to face. He noticed that. He would be like, I can't believe nobody said anything. I can't believe nobody, reached out to you and asked you what you felt through all of this. Why do your parents always like put you down and say bad remarks? Like he just thought it was outlandish. And I was like, isn't this what parents do? So he shed a light where I did not realize there was issues. I just thought that for so long that that's how it should be. The way that he loved me started to help me realize what love is and what it isn't.